Recording in progress.
Morning, all.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, Honorable Van Dijk. Morning, honorable members.
Morning, Chairperson. Morning, colleagues.
Jamu, can you
Morning, Chair. Good
put
morning, all.
yes, morning to everyone. Now the time is 9 o'clock. Good morning, the Secretariat. Can you flight the agenda on the screen? Honorable members, good morning. I do welcome you all in this meeting today. I'm aware that most of the provinces we are having to welcome you all and network problems today, but we must try our best. I'm suspecting all of us were a little bit happier about what our
Recording in progress.
What is this name? The
Paralympics.
Paralympics, yes. They are doing very well. I'm suspecting the South Africans are rejoicing.
Good morning, everybody. The time it's 9 o'clock, and we are ready to start with our meeting. You are all welcome. Honorable members, support staff, National Treasury team. I'm told our National Treasury team is led by Dr. Mampo. Welcome, members of the media and everybody who's on the platform. You're all welcome. As you know, today we are dealing with the second special appropriation bill, which is the response of government to the further impact of COVID-19 and the unrest of last month, especially in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. You would remember that the President and the Minister of Finance both announced government response in trying to assist all those who were affected by COVID and by the unrest I've just referred to. We are all welcome and will be interacting with the National Treasury as it were. But before we do that, Darren, can I get indications of apologies?
Good morning, Chairperson, honorable members and guests. Yes, we have 3 apologies for today. It's from Ms. Digale, Ms. Ntlangwini, and Ms. Solonyana. That's you, Chairperson.
Thank you so much, Darren. Those apologies will be noted, but if we are not done by 30:30, I will also have to rush to the doctor. I've got a doctor's appointment, and I'll request Honorable Kaiso to continue and finish the meeting. But let's see how far we go. We do have the agenda in front of us, and that's what's going to guide us today. Dr. Mampo, you know how we do it. I don't know how much time you would need. And then after that, the oral members will discuss your input as far as the bill is concerned. Dr. Mampo.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, honorable members. Thank you so much, Chair, for having us. I don't think this is going to be a long presentation, so I would need about 15 minutes for the presentation, and then I will then take the questions. I'm with my colleagues, but I will take you through the presentation. Can I project the presentation, Chair?
Please continue, ma'am.
Thanks, Chairperson. So, Darren, please allow me to chair, but while
to welcome
I wait for you to help me, I will start with the presentation.
Leadership. I don't know who's
so,
here.
Chairperson, as you correctly summarized, this bill was as a result of the unrest that took place in KZN, mainly in KZN and in Gauteng. So the president announced a package that was going to ease the pressure in these two provinces. Yes, thank you. So to ease the pressure in these three provinces. So Chairperson, we had to allocate funding for 5 votes, so National Treasury, but this is because SASRIA belongs to the National Treasury, social development, defense, police, and trade and industry. Now, Chairperson and honorable members, we had to split the allocations in 2 ways. The ones that were needed immediately, we had to use Section 16 of the PFMA, which is the emergency funding, and we used the Section 16 for social development for the first 3 months, and then we also used Section 16 for the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition to deal with or to provide relief and support for businesses who were affected but not covered by SASRIA. So the 2 measures that we have used is to just make sure that at least there's no delay in terms of funding. But for the rest of the funding, honorable members and Chairperson, we have put this in the second special appropriation bill for your consideration. So firstly, this is just a summary of what we have allocated. So as I said, for social development, we allocated 10 billion for Section 16, and this is just to cover the 3 months, while for trade, industry and competition, it was 1.3 billion to support small businesses. Now, for the rest of the proposed allocation, Chairperson, we're bringing them in this bill. That would be for SASRIA, 3.9 billion. The rest of the money that will be required for social development to pay the grant up to the end of March, that would be 16.7 billion. For the Defense Force, it's basically to cover the cost for the work that they did in dealing with the unrest, 700 million, and also to support the police, 250 million, because they had to appoint extra people to go and assist in terms of this. So basically, Chairperson and honorable members, this is just a slide that justifies the allocation for SASRIA, but basically SASRIA we provisionally allocating the 3.9 billion just to add funding for them to deal with the pressure of or supporting businesses that are claiming from SASRIA. However, Chairperson, what we have been specific here is that this is not, because they don't know how much they're going to need, because they haven't really assessed all the claims. We're just providing the 3.9 billion. It can be more, it can be less, but if it's more, then we can deal with it in the October MTBPS, and if it's less, of course, we will also revise these numbers. But the 3.9 billion was just to get them ready so that they're not in a position where they have insufficient funds. We have spoken to them to just check how fast or how urgent they need the money, and they did allude to us that using the special bill will be fine, and even getting the allocations in January will be fine, because this is mainly for their balance sheet, so they don't need the funding immediately. That's why we didn't put them in the Section 16 of the PFMA, but put them in the special bill for your consideration, Chairperson. So this is the allocation. Of course, it will go to the National Treasury under Asset and Liability Management Program, because they look after the entity. Then the second one, Chairperson, would be the SRD 350 grant. So this time around, we have included the caregivers as well, because there has been an outcry that caregivers also need to benefit from this 350 grant. And in total, Chairperson, we're thinking approximately 13.2 million will be eligible to receive this grant. And SASA, of course, will be working to make sure that only people who deserve to receive the grant will be receiving the grant. So they'll be doing a lot of means test and also doing some assessment to just make sure the right people get paid. So we're looking at an estimate that we worked with SASA of 26.7 billion. And as I said, part of this has already been transferred to SASA, and then the rest will be transferred as soon as Parliament considers the bill. And then if approved, of course, we will transfer the funding. So part of the 26 billion, Chairperson and honorable members, is 500 million that we propose to be transferred to to SASA for the administration of the grant. So for now, we only we only allocated partial of this amount of the 500 million, and then the rest is coming through to this bill. Then support for business, Chairperson and honorable members, there were two departments that submitted proposals for this, and it was the Department of Small Business Development as well as Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. The Small Business Development was proposed that they will reprioritize 300 million from their existing budget. While the DTIC requested 2 billion, but after we had engagement with them, we looked at their budget, we assessed their budgets, we identified 700 million that could be repurposed from their budget for this purpose. So instead of the 2 billion, they are requesting 1.3 billion, and the 700 million was reprioritized within their budget. I mean, there's a lot of projects that the DTIC has identified. This is just the summary, Chairperson and honorable members, of some of the interventions that they were thinking about. So they did a full assessment of the businesses that they will be assisting, and some of they also had engagement with the other stakeholders who will be assisting in dispersing some of these funds, including entities such as SAFA, IDT, and others. So basically what they are looking for was 2 billion, but as I said, they reprioritized some of the money from their own projects, just to make sure that they cover some of the costs. So this is the projects that they will be going into, and this will be some of the interventions that they're proposing to have. What we also said, Chairperson and honorable members, to the two departments is that they need to make sure there is no double dipping. So they need to work together to avoid a situation where businesses apply for apply to SASRIA, apply to small business, apply to DTIC. So these teams have to work together to just make sure that there is no double dipping and the businesses only receive one form of assistance rather than multiple forms of assistance. So this is the 1.3 billion, Chairperson and honorable members, that we propose it should be allocated to trade, industry and competition. Then, as I said, for police, this is just mainly for the deployment of additional police and the fuel and some of the administrative costs. And for the Defense Force, basically, it is the deployment of military personnel in KZN, and also there's another deployment, of course, as part of the SADC standby force. So the 700 million is proposed to cover both of these deployment for the SNDF. Then, Chairperson, of course, this would be the allocations in term of the bill. So, Chairperson, this is the bill in summary, and we are requesting Parliament to consider these proposals so that we can do the allocation. But as I said, Chairperson, for social development and trade and industry, some of the money has already been allocated through Section 16 of the PFMA. Thank you very much, Chair and honorable members.
Thank you, Dr. Mampo. As you said, it's quite a short bill. Honorable members, it's our turn now. Here's the bill in front of us. Can I hear who would like to ask or comment on the bill?
Chair, Honorable Sarupen, I'd like to comment.
Honorable Sarupen, good morning.
Good morning,
Yes.
Chair Matafa.
Honorable Matafa, morning.
Chair, my hand was up in the thing, in the whatever it's called, where you raise your hand. So I'll come in after Honorable Matafa.
Thank you.
Chair.
Honorable
Chair.
Peter. Yes, who's
Chair,
that?
Chair Kwangwa.
Honorable Nkwangwa, good morning. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Kaiso.
Honorable Kaiso. Morning, Honorable Kaiso. That takes care of everyone who would like to say something. Honorable members, let's start with Honorable Sarupen. Honorable Sarupen.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. So I have a couple of questions. The first is with regards to all of these allocations, and in particular SASRIA, what will happen if SASRIA's claims exceed the 3.9 billion surplus that is going to be paid to them? And what will that be the consequences of that, considering that they're not going to get a full allocation at this stage, just 3.9? The second question is, how does this adjustment appropriations bill overall affect the deficit and the borrowing that the country has to do? What is the source of funding for all of these additional expenditures? I would like to get some indication as to that. And what will this do to our credit rating if we have to borrow? Thanks, Chair.
Thank you.
And specific programs that the ministry has